that would be a national security threat, right?
We speak through our filings in court, and we speak through our actions in open court. So I would,
okay, well, speak to this. Where's the laptop?
In that position.
Do you know where Hunter Biden's laptop is?
Again, I'm not going to talk about any potential ongoing investigation as I sit here.
Do you know where it is?
I'm not going to talk about any ongoing investigation.
You come here and you tell us you follow the facts and the law, but you can't even follow a laptop that you guys have had for 3 years.
We follow the facts and the law, and we speak in open court about our cases.
But you aren't speaking about this. But you know who is speaking about it? The whistleblowers from the FBI who've gone to Senator Grassley and said that you guys purposefully take any information that is derogatory about Hunter Biden and you go and rat hole it so that you never have to speak about it in any circumstance. But the good news is you're not the only ones with that laptop. So Patrick Ho was convicted of bribing government officials in Africa, and he gave $1 million to Hunter Biden. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not going to speak about any ongoing investigation.
Is that an ongoing?
I can assure
is
you
that an ongoing investigation?
I'm not going to speak about any potential ongoing
don't
investigation.
You see that degrades the country's belief in you guys when you have whistleblowers saying that you're purposefully rat holing this information, and then you come here and say you won't talk about it? I mean, you know, inside Hunter Biden's multi-million-dollar deals with a Chinese energy company, Washington Post, Matt Vizier, Chinese elite paid $31 million to Hunter and the Bidens, Peter Schweitzer in the New York Post. Hunter Biden's business partner called Joe Biden the big guy in panicked messages. Do you guys call Joe Biden the big guy at the Department of Justice?
So I think it's important to understand why we don't speak about cases outside of the courtroom.
By the way, I already know why.
Sir, if I may answer the question.
You know why you don't speak about it? Because it's about Hunter Biden. You guys have no problem leaking about other stuff, right? Like, you got no problem going out and tagging parents at school board meetings as a national security threat. But when all of the facts and all of the law are before you regarding the corruption of Hunter Biden, you don't want to speak to that at all. And it's precisely why you've got folks that are talking to Senator Grassley about it. Bohai Harvest. So 10 days after Vice President Biden takes Hunter Biden to China, 10 days after this long, toiling venture of Hunter Biden that can't get off the ground, 10 days after they go, he automatically gets approved. So for a deal in China with Bohai Harvest, have you guys looked into that?
I'm not going to talk about any ongoing investigation.
Well, you know who else is talking? Tony Bobolinsky. Tony Bobolinsky told the world that Joe Biden was cut in on a CCP energy deal that was orchestrated by Hunter Biden. Have you guys talked to Tony Bobolinsky?
Again, we don't talk about ongoing investigations in settings such as this.
So Joe Biden, how about this? Will you commit to a classified briefing on these matters?
I'd certainly be happy to talk to you or any member of the committee about matters of national security.
Okay, well,
but
is this a matter of national security?
We do not talk outside of courtrooms about ongoing investigations.
Well, is there an ongoing investigation of the annual fund dinner that happened where Joe Biden was vice president of the United States and Hunter Biden holds his fund's annual dinner at the Chinese embassy? But in order to do that, in order to get the Chinese embassy to roll out the red carpet for Hunter Biden and to raise money for his fund, he had to go to the embassy 30 minutes before and have a one-on-one meeting with the Chinese ambassador. Do you think it's possible that that meeting might have jeopardized national security?
I'm not going to comment about any potential or ongoing investigation.
Well, here's the thing. It's pretty easy to see that Hunter Biden is compromised. I think every American knows that's a threat to national security. I think we're watching a crime spree in progress that Hunter Biden is orchestrating. And one has to wonder, what
step with their far-left agenda. Last September, the Biden White House colluded with the National School Boards Association to orchestrate a letter to President Biden that portrayed concerned parents speaking out at school board meetings as security threats. The letter urged the president to use the Patriot Act to go after America's moms and dads. Just 5 days later, the Attorney General issued a memorandum directing the FBI and U.S. Attorney's offices to address a, quote, disturbing spike in harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence at school board meetings. And if you remember, when we had the Attorney General in front of this committee, we asked him about where did they learn about this harassment, this disturbing spike in intimidation? Where did they learn about it? And his response was, from the school board letter that they helped coordinate and put together to send to the White House. The press release that accompanied that memorandum said that Mr. Olson's division, the National Security Division, would be involved in a department-wide effort to target parents. That's right. The division that is supposed to be prosecuting terrorists, protecting us from terrorists, the kind that want to hijack planes and bring down buildings, decided that a priority of this division of the FBI is parents at school board meetings. And oh, guess what? We find out that this whole situation was coordinated. That's right. Like I said earlier, the NSBA letter was a pretext for the memorandum. The letter was instigated by the White House. Documents released by the National School Boards Association show that the White House knew that the letter would urge the administration to invoke the Patriot Act, and the White House raised no objections. In fact, the National School Boards Association admitted that President Biden telephoned the then NSBA president to say that he was appreciative of the letter. When this all came to light and America's parents rightly became outraged, the National School Board Association apologized for its action. The NSBA wrote to its members, quote, "We regret and apologize for the letter." That's a lot more than the Attorney General or the Biden administration has done, because as far as we know, the memorandum is still in place. That's right, as far as we know, the Attorney General's directive to the National Security Division to target moms and dads remains in place. And if this was it, if it was just a political stunt, that would be bad enough. But it's actually much worse. Because of whistleblowers who came forward, we know that the FBI created a threat tag specifically targeting parents, a designation specifically targeting moms and dads. And we know that the FBI opened over 24 investigations into parents merely because they stood up to speak on behalf of their children. We sent countless letters to the DOJ trying to get answers, but have gotten virtually nothing back in response. I'm sure we will have some pointed questions for Mr. Olson today, and I hope that he is prepared to give us answers on the answers our constituents deserve. We also hope he is prepared to talk about the Department of Justice's refusal to address people trying to intimidate Supreme Court justices at their homes and their children's schools. And we have great concerns about the terrorist attacks targeting pro-life facilities and groups around the country. This year, there have been dozens of attacks on these facilities, but the Biden administration seems preoccupied with other politically charged investigations. We'd also like to know why the DOJ is ignoring all the facts coming to light regarding the business dealings and illegal activities of Hunter Biden. In fact, a troubling pattern has come to light recently that indicates the Biden Justice Department seems more focused on politics than it is on fighting crime. And don't forget, this is the division of the Department of Justice that we entrust with immense surveillance.
Conduct that public business. Last week, I made public 2 oversight letters that I've sent to the Justice Department and to the FBI. These 2 letters are part of my investigation into a political bias that's infecting the Department of Justice and the FBI. These letters are based on information provided to my office by whistleblowers. And I hope everybody knows that I consider whistleblowers as patriots. And whistleblowers have to have guts, and they do have guts. And Director Wray has personally told me that these whistleblowers won't be subject to retaliation, as often whistleblowers in the federal government are subject to retaliation, hurting themselves professionally and maybe even losing their jobs. Now, these letters that I sent follow up on a May 31st, 2022 letter to the Justice Department, the FBI, and the Inspector General. In those letters, I provided evidence of extreme left-wing bias shown by a special agent in charge by the name of Tim Tebow. He is special agent in charge of the FBI's Washington field office. Now, he has since been referred to the Office of Special Counsel for potential Hatch Act violations. Tebow is at the center of my 2 letters sent last week. The first letter relates to an FBI investigation that Tebow opened on the Trump campaign and its advisors. He allegedly had help from Richard Pilger, an official in the Justice Department's election crime branch within the public integrity section. During Chairman Turbin's investigation into the Justice Department misconduct, Pilger really stood out. The committee interviewed Richard Donahue, the former Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General during the Trump administration. He was also a key January 6th committee witness. Donahue testified to the Judiciary Committee that Pilger's conduct frustrated the department's ability to properly operate the elections crimes branch. Tebow and Pilger played a major role in opening the criminal investigation into the Trump campaign. And this isn't a preliminary investigation, it's a full investigation which requires heightened standards to go forward with that investigation. According to the whistleblowers that contacted my office, the opening memo for that investigation is based in substantial part on liberal news reporting. Liberal news reports are not enough for a full investigation. The Washington Post reported on the investigation last Tuesday. However, the Post did not report that Tebow and Pilger were involved in opening that case against Trump and his advisors. Yet, Attorney General Garland and Director Wray allegedly approved opening those investigations. Now, as I have said in my letter to those 2 people, if you're going to open an investigation, you have to do it in the right way. So let's contrast this investigation with what the FBI has done with information received from sources relating to Hunter Biden. Whistleblowers have told my office that the FBI maintains many sources that have provided extensive information on Hunter Biden. That information allegedly involves potential criminal activity such as money laundering. That's the same criminal concern that Senator Johnson and I raised in our 2020 Biden report. To clarify, that was way back in 2020. According to the whistleblowers' allegations, the underlying information was verified and was verifiable. Now here is where it is appropriate to raise questions about politics and political interference in investigations. However, instead of green-lighting the investigative activity, the FBI shut down the Hunter investigation. So now how did they do that? According to allegations in August 2020, FBI Supervisory Intelligence Analyst Brian Houghton opened an assessment. That assessment was used by the FBI officials to improperly discredit Hunter Biden's information as, you know what, disinformation. Those officials allegedly included Tebow. Then in October 2020, an avenue of additional Hunter reporting was ordered closed at the direction of Special Agent Tebow. It's been alleged that Tebow and others suggested to FBI agents that the information was at risk of being, you know what, disinformation. However, according to allegations, the source reporting was either verified or verifiable via criminal search warrants. Tebow allegedly ordered the matter closed without providing a valid reason as required by FBI guidelines. As required by FBI guidelines. In other words, Tebow shut down an allegedly legitimate avenue of information. So in order to shut down Hunter Biden's sources and investigative leads, the FBI engaged in disinformation campaign against itself and its own agents. If these allegations are true and accurate, the Justice Department and the FBI are and have been substantially corrupted. Before I conclude, I want to note 4 things regarding the summer of 2020. Yes, the summer of 2020. The opening of Oten's assessment in August 2020. Secondly, efforts by the FBI officials to shut down Hunter Biden's investigative activity. Third, efforts by the FBI to provide really unnecessary briefing to me and Senator Johnson in August of 2020. That briefing was purportedly about our Biden investigation, but it had nothing to do with the Biden investigation. Leaks, fourthly and lastly, leaks relating to the briefing and the liberal media and Democrats.
President Nieto with Dad. Highlighted are the comments: we've been talking about business deals and partnerships for 7 years. I've brought every single person you've ever asked me to bring to the effing White House and the Vice President's house and the inauguration. I've delivered on every single thing you've ever asked. In this email, Hunter Biden acknowledges his attendance at a meeting between Mexican President Nieto and then Vice President Biden, discusses business deals and partnerships with a wealthy and politically connected Mexican family, references access provided to Mexican businessmen at the White House and Vice President's house, and states he'd already delivered on every single thing you've ever asked. Did this email, or does this email, raise concerns that Hunter Biden might have acted contrary to FARA, since it appears he never registered to represent foreign principals?
So I'm not familiar with the email that you're referring to. What I can tell you is that it is a fundamental principle of the Justice Department and consistent with my almost 20-year career that we follow the facts and the law in every case without
So you're not familiar, but you're not
politics
familiar with
or
this
ideology.
You're not familiar with this this email here.
I'm
We
not.
have next up, we're going to show you a picture of Vice President Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Miguel Alemán, his father, and Carlos Slim, one of the richest men in the world, in 2015, while Joe Biden was vice president. This picture seems to conflict with President Biden's statement that he has never met with his son's business associates. Much of the information regarding Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings has come from the laptop that was abandoned by Hunter Biden and labeled by the media as misinformation, as well as by 51 former intelligence officers in a weird letter dated October 19, 2020, which I will submit for the record. This week, we learned FBI whistleblowers have come forward and reported the FBI committed a widespread effort within the FBI to downplay or discredit negative information about Hunter Biden. Are you familiar with that reporting?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Has any investigation of Hunter Biden by your office been influenced by the work product or actions taken by FBI agent Timothy Thibault?
So I'm not going to comment on any investigation that may or may not be ongoing. What I can assure you is that we follow the facts and evidence, and we apply the law and the principles of federal prosecution in every single case without regard to ideology or politics.
So you are unaware, because you're unaware of the reporting, so you're unaware of any efforts within the Department of Justice to label derogatory information on Hunter Biden as disinformation?
I'm not going to comment on any potential ongoing investigation.
Okay. According to reports, Border Patrol has apprehended at least 50 illegal aliens at the southwest border in fiscal year 2022, and the Office of Field Operations has encountered at least 50 aliens on a terror watch list at ports of entry in the fiscal year. Does CBP consult with National Security Division when they encounter an illegal alien who's on a terrorist watch list?
The National Security Division was actually created to work with other agencies, whether that's agencies in the intelligence community or agencies across the government, including agencies in the
Okay, so
Department
this
of
is a
Homeland
yes or no.
Security.
This is not hard. Does CBP give you information when they find someone who's on the terrorist watch list, when they encounter them at the border? Do they give that information to you?
I can't speak as I sit here to any particular situation or circumstance. What I can tell you is that the whole point of
I'm not
the work
asking
we
about
do-
a circumstances. Is the process is that they report to you? So you have 100 known encounters of people on a terrorist watch list. I assume one would think it's coming to you. I'm asking about the process, not a specific case.
So in general, Congressman, the way the system works is that the FBI investigates the crimes
Okay,
that we
so
prosecute.
here we go. Let's get to
It may
the
well be
specific
that
case.
information goes between
Let's get to the specific case
CBP and
then.
the FBI, but
I'll
I don't
reclaim my
have
time.
specific information.
Are you
about
familiar
that.
with the name Issam Bazi?
I'm sorry?
Are you familiar with the name Issam Bazi?
No.
Okay, he's a Lebanese-born Venezuelan national listed on the FBI's terror watch list.